Hello guys, and today my name is Peter, and today we're gonna react to SCP-409, known as the Contagious Crystal. And this video was made by a channel called the Detective Voice, which he made about SCPs. Yeah. The animation, by the way, it looks creepy. That's why it looks so cool.
Every summer, James went on a hike with his young son, Ronnie, into the mountains, through forests and caverns. This time, they decided to visit a small granite cave in Spain. The cave was about 3 kilometers long. It was about 1 kilometer deep. The father and son planned to go to the end and immediately turned back. But soon, they were caught off guard by a small force majeure development.
Oh no!
The tourists were left without any light. Small stones fell from the cave ceiling, and while they didn't cause any injuries, they had enough force to knock the flashlights out of the guy's hands and break them. They were forced to feel their way back. The bottom of the cave was very uneven, and in those conditions a fall would almost certainly mean serious injury. But when a dim light loomed on the horizon, there was hope that they would make it out without any fractures or dislocations. The dim light was coming from a large piece of quartz crystal. The light was very weak, but it would have been enough to get out of the cave painlessly. By the white glow of the crystal, they could see that the space around them was completely filled with cave moss. James suggested that they sit down and take a breather.
I think it is SCP-409. Because it literally say contagious crystal, so it must be a crystal. Yeah, that's a crystal, you see. Yeah. And by the way, let's start.
Before picking up the crystal to use it as a light source and continuing on. James perched right on the moss, but Ronnie's teenage fastidiousness wouldn't let him. He found the moss to be too disgusting and chose to sit on a bare chunk of granite. After a short pause, James reached for the crystal to pry a small piece off the lump of rock. But as soon as he touched the crystal, James felt an incredibly strong, tearing pain in his arm. James wanted to reflexively let go of the crystal, but it was too late. As a frightened Ronnie watched, his father's hands started to turn into crystal, becoming covered with a thick white crust. James's scream echoed throughout the entire cave. Ronnie simply froze in fear, and despite a strong desire to help his father, he couldn't make even the slightest movement. A few minutes later, the screams started to fade, and James's entire body became a solid crystal. Ronnie was speechless and continued to stare helplessly at the crystalline sculpture of his father, which continued to make creaking and snapping noises for another 20 minutes. After that, James's body exploded, shattering into thousands of pieces. By a lucky coincidence, none of the fragments hit Ronnie. All the while, the moss under James's feet began to rapidly turn into crystal too, spreading towards Ronnie. He knew that it was his turn next. Unable to move, he closed his eyes, awaiting his painful fate. But the crystal's path stopped when it reached the stone that Ronnie was sitting on. After recovering from shock, the teenager realized that the crystal wasn't acting on granite. As the crystal expanded and the glow became more intense, Ronnie scattered granite stones over the overgrown crystallized moss so he could walk over it, towards the cave's exit. He was eventually treated with amnestics, and James was declared missing. Now the contagious crystal is contained within the Foundation under the number SCP-409. In appearance, it's no different from ordinary quartz crystals. The anomaly measures about 1.5 meters in height and about 60 centimeters in width. Any object that comes into physical contact with the anomaly begins to crystallize after 3 hours. This, however, excludes people. Any person who touches the anomaly crystallizes instantly. The area of effect...
The line's smaller than... Yeah. The line was... Wait, what's the line again?
Is after 3 hours. This, however,
so the length is 0.6 meter and the width is 1.5 meters.
Excludes people. Any person who touches the anomaly crystallizes instantly. The area of effect spreads at a rate of 2.5 centimeters per minute. Every cell of living matter becomes crystallized. As for inorganic substances, the lesions are superficial, only a few centimeters around the point of contact with the crystal. As is already clear from the story of Ronnie and James, the only material that isn't affected by the anomaly is granite. As such, the object is now kept in a granite case. But granite won't save the victim if contact with the crystal has already occurred. Even the amputation of the affected limbs won't help. The person will feel a terrible pain, similar to that of frostbite. After their complete transformation into crystal, their body makes snapping and creaking sounds for another 20 minutes. Then it explodes with great force and shatters into countless small pieces. During the discovery and seizure of the object, the Foundation lost many employees. Unlike Ronnie, they didn't realize soon enough that granite was the only thing that could protect them. However, anomalous object SCP-5...
How can we destroy SCP-407? Oh no, I mean, how can we defeat SCP-409? It's just so dangerous. And by the way, or maybe we could heal people by using SCP-500. It's appearing on the screen, okay? So if you don't know SCP-500, it's a pill where it could help you.
100, better known as Panacea, could reverse a person's crystallization. A fully crystallized D-Class employee was exposed to a red SCP-500 tablet. After 9 days, the victim had fully recovered, but another 4 days after that, they felt severe muscle and joint pain, which then also passed. However, the number of miracle pills is strictly limited. The Foundation has less than 50 of them. The origin of the drug is unknown, and production of it's impossible, at least in the near future. So for now, Foundation scientists can only engage in more detailed studies of the nature of the crystal, observing all precautions, because in the event of a mishap, management is unlikely to allocate another miracle pill. According to all its properties, including its chemical formula, the object is completely identical to quartz. Only thing is, it acts like a seed crystal, which is placed in a special liquid or solution to cause a complete crystallization of that solution. There are several details worth mentioning when it comes to these processes. Usually, bodies that are in a liquid or gaseous state crystallize, but the crystallization itself is nothing more than the solidification of those bodies. For example, ice is just crystallized water. A person, despite the presence of a large amount of water in the body, is still considered a solid body. Like many objects that the anomaly comes into contact with, under normal circumstances, they're unable to crystallize, except for during frostbite, when bodily secretions can turn into ice crystals. However, SCP-409 first turns the object into liquid or gas. But this stage occurs so quickly and imperceptibly that even Foundation researchers cannot record it. First, all of the person's or object's molecular bonds break down under the crystal's influence. After the body part becomes liquid for a fraction of a second, it immediately begins to turn to crystal. When this process is completed, the crystallized body starts to intensively...
SCP-409 is... Object class of SCP-409 is Keter. So this anomaly is a Keter class. And it's very dangerous. Yeah, it's very dangerous.
Draw in the surrounding air. Dry ice is blown up using approximately the same technique, when it's surrounded on all sides by intense air jets. This process is accompanied by crackling and creaking sounds, after which the mass explodes and shatters into pieces. Nevertheless, if the individual stages of infection by the contagious crystal are now relatively understood, the whole process still remains a mystery. And it's not at all clear whether SCP-409 is a natural or man-made phenomenon. I'm leaning toward the first option, but with a slight amendment. This crystal was formed under natural conditions, but not on planet Earth. Ultra-high pressure was most likely needed to create the crystal, which cannot be recreated on our planet, even with technology. The pressure now contained in the crystal was probably so strong that, by inertia, it's transmitted to any other object it comes into contact with the exception of granite. If this is the case, then the stage where a person is transformed into liquid, which I mentioned earlier, doesn't actually exist. The contagious crystal most likely came to our planet along with a meteorite, after which it settled inside a granite cave. The granite couldn't succumb to the crystal's effect, because to the anomaly, it was a totally unfamiliar material. Some scientists call granite the calling card of planet Earth, since it's almost impossible to find granite beyond Earth's atmosphere. You're more likely to find living organisms, especially considering the SCP Foundation and I know for a fact that extraterrestrial life exists. And this suggests another hypothesis, one regarding the man-made origin of the anomalous crystals. Perhaps alien civilizations specifically placed them inside granite rock formations. This was a kind of time bomb, a deferred plan to destroy life on planet Earth. Several large crystals were hidden in different places around the planet. According to the plan, people are meant to find them sooner or later. Due to humanity's low level of intelligence, according to aliens, people won't be able to cope with the anomaly and will die one by one. Well, they clearly underestimated the Foundation's readiness to deal with these kind of difficulties. Although the contagious crystals were most likely put on our planet back when humanity was in the primitive stages of development. And perhaps it was done by those who populated our planet with people. Presumably, over time, humanity will become too dangerous. And when their curiosity leads people to the crystals, then the time will come for humanity's self-destruction. Apparently, the plan failed. Our civilization has made progress both technically and intellectually, but so far only one crystal has been found. The idea that the other crystals have not yet been discovered, and that there may be quite a lot of them, is very frightening. However, another thought just occurred to me. Maybe the crystals aren't meant to kill people, but rather to protect something hidden deep in the bowels of the Earth from their unnecessary attention. Seems to me like this hypothesis stands a chance. Just what are they guarding, though? Secret laboratories? An unknown kind of hazardous mineral? Or is there an entire high-tech civilization underground? Share your theories in the comments below this video.
So, it's the end of the video. And if you want to watch more if you want to watch SCP-973, it is appearing. So you could click to watch SCP-973 reaction. And it's the end of the video. And I hope you guys have a great day. Bye. And by the way, the next SCP I'm going to record is SCP-1128.